Good evening and welcome. I'm so glad you're here. This is your time, your chill space. In this soft hour, we'll journey through the story of Elara, a woman standing at the crossroads of love, trust, and the quiet ache of betrayal. Her story is tender, imperfect, and deeply human, a reminder that even in the silence of heartbreak, healing begins. In a quiet town nestled by the hills, where the wind hummed lullabies and the stars blinked like sleepy eyes, there lived a woman named Elara. She was in her late 20s, graceful yet grounded, with a kind of beauty that glowed, not from glamour, but from a soul that had loved, lost, and still believed. Every night, Elara would sit by her window, sipping warm tea, her eyes scanning the moonlit garden outside. She was a woman of deep thoughts, the kind who had learned that love was more than just butterflies. It was trust, it was time, and it was truth. And this, dear listener, is the story of how Elara learned that love, real love, is not always what it seems. Elara met Aiden on a rainy Thursday afternoon. She was sheltering under the awning of an old bookstore, and he, charming in a modest way, offered his umbrella. Their eyes met, and the silence between them felt familiar, like they had known each other before in another lifetime. Aiden was attentive, thoughtful, and soft-spoken. He seemed to carry the kind of sincerity Elara had long hoped for. They started meeting often at coffee shops, evening walks, and reading poetry aloud. Their bond grew slowly, naturally, like a tree nurtured by quiet rain. Trust, Elara believed, was finally growing roots. By spring, love had wrapped itself around Elara's heart. Aiden introduced her to his world, his friends, his favorite places, his past wounds. One evening, Under a sky of blooming stars, he whispered, "I've never felt this way before. With you, everything feels safe." Elara's eyes welled with tears, not of sadness, but relief. Maybe, just maybe, this was the forever she had waited for. They talked about the future, marriage, a little house by the lake, 2 dogs, and a garden full of lavender. She let herself believe. But love, dear listener, can sometimes wear a mask. Slowly, inconsistencies began to appear. Aiden grew distant, sometimes unreachable. He would cancel plans with vague excuses, messages unanswered, apologies too perfectly crafted. Elara's heart started to question what her mind tried to dismiss. One evening, as the wind grew colder, Elara found herself alone at the cafe where they had first laughed together. Aiden never showed. As her tea turned cold, so did her trust. Weeks passed, and silence became a third person in their conversations. Elara, with a trembling heart, followed intuition, not paranoia, but the quiet wisdom of a woman who had given love honestly. One night, Elara found what she feared, a message, a woman's name, affectionate words not meant for her. Aiden was not who she thought he was. He had betrayed the very foundation on which they stood. Trust. Elara's world did not crash, it shifted. She felt not rage, but a profound ache, the kind that comes when trust is taken for granted. And in that silence, she found clarity. They met at dusk in the same park where they once dreamed of a future. Elara's voice was calm, her eyes steady as she gazed into Aiden's eyes and asked, "Why, Aiden? Why give me a love you didn't mean to keep?" He looked away, guilt a weight on his shoulders. He mumbled reasons, confusion, fear, and cowardice. But Elara no longer needed his reasons. She had found closure in her own strength. "I loved you honestly," she said, "and someday someone will love me the same." Seasons changed as they always do, and so did Elara. She cried, some nights more than others. Elara felt lonely some nights than other nights, but she also danced again. sang softly to herself, and found joy in her solitude. She traveled, wrote poems, met new faces, and slowly she remembered who she was before betrayal tried to define her. Love, she realized, begins within, and trust, it must first live in your own heart before you give it to another. One morning, under a sky blushing with sunrise, Elara met someone new, not someone perfect, but someone real, a man who listened more than he spoke, who didn't just promise, but showed up. And this time, Elara didn't rush. She let love grow slowly. No fantasies, no illusions, because now she understood. Love is not just about finding the right person. It's also about becoming whole enough that betrayal doesn't break you. And with that wholeness, Elara smiled. So, as you close your eyes tonight, as you drift into sleep, remember this: you are worthy of love that is steady. You are worthy of trust that is earned. And even in betrayal, there is healing. There is a lesson wrapped in healing. Good night, dear listener. Sweet dreams.